Yeah, hi there. These comments are for R. I'm just using your initials for privacy purposes. Very good control, I think, of both your grammar and your vocabulary, but here's the issue that I'm facing right now. It's going to be tough to kind of grade this paper, but you say, describe a custom from your country that you would like other people from other countries to adopt. Explain your choice. Use specific reasons and examples. So kind of what's implied within this question is, why would other people from other countries want to adopt this custom? Now, you created more of a factual type essay with a little bit of argument near the end. So let's take a look at your thesis. You say, after the family puts the dead body into the grave, there are 3 days to continue the funeral ceremony in Saudi culture. Now, the question here is, though, we know what your custom is, the funeral, and how you celebrate it, but why is that important for other countries? Why, for example, should the United States adopt this particular custom? So it's this part of the question I don't think you're really answering specifically. Let's take a look at your topic sentences. After the burial and cemetery is finished, you want to say I would say here, we start the first day of welcoming the guests in maybe the dead person's house. Again, there's really no argument here. You have the next paragraph. In the first day, the dead person's family prepares a place to be ready to receive their relatives and friends. Again, why should we adopt this custom? And then you have the arrangement of the funeral ceremony is not the dead's family task. You talk about how guests deal with it. Then you have in conclusion. You start answering it here a little bit. It decries the society of Saudi culture. The dead family's taking care of their guests. They are providing for them a place to sleep, food to eat. The dead family designs their house for the funeral ceremony to meet their guests. Finally has own way to deal with ceremonies such as the funeral ceremony in Saudi Arabia. So I'm going to say that I think you could probably do a little bit better job answering this particular question. Now, what you can do is you want to look on the same page where you're posting this particular response. Now, you will also find a model essay on this same page. I think the model more directly addresses the task than your essay. So I want you to read that model so you can have an idea of how you could have better responded to this particular writing assignment. Now, in addition, you also have some problems with your language use. All right, let's take a look. One of your sentences in the first paragraph. You say, in Saudi Arabia, there are many customs that people are doing these a long time ago. The meaning here, I'll be honest with you, is not quite clear. But you might say, in Saudi Arabia, people have been doing many customs for many years. That's probably the better way to say it. So again, in Saudi Arabia, people have been doing many customs for many years. Then you can say, comma, one of which is the funeral ceremony, or is the Saudi Arabian funeral ceremony. So that's how I would change that. So this, unfortunately, was a major problem with this sentence, and it was difficult for me to understand the meaning on that. I had to really think about how I could recast that sentence in order to make the meaning clearer. Okay, let's try this one, this particular sentence. If some guests come from other cities, I would put IES. This is, you kind of have trouble. The dead person's family, I would put, not just the dead's family, but the dead person's family. will provide to them a place to sleep even in their houses or hotels. So I would make cities plural, houses, and that's also parallel to hotels. So that's a problem I would correct in that paragraph. Let's take a look at another one. This is a little bit, you can probably rewrite this when you say, for example, I would say dead person's family puts lights on the house to identify it as the location for the funeral ceremony. That's probably how I would recast that particular sentence. So you can play the video one more time if you want to hear how I would recast that. All right, let's go to another one. Okay, this one, here's part of your difficulty here, which is confusing. You have is not, you have would bring, is part, will stand, would bring, would prepare, they cannot, they can make. So you're not really consistent here. You're kind of shifting from the present to the past or the hypothetical, and I would probably recast these to say this. The arrangement of the funeral ceremony is not the dead person's family or family task. Some of the guests deal with this task. Also, the friends and relatives of the dead's family brings food to the funeral. It is part of Saudi culture that everyone stands close to each other. If some of them, you might say, if some of them has a problem. The relatives and friends of the dead person's family, I would just say, bring some food to the funeral. They prepare the lunch and dinner. If they cannot cook the food, they make a contract with some restaurants to deliver the food during the 3 days. So that's how I would change some of your verbs in that particular paragraph. I was trying to rewrite them so they're all focusing around the present time frame because you're describing it and explaining it. And I think the present tense verb or present tense verbs are the best way to do that. Then you have the last one here. This is a problem right here. Let me see if I can rewrite these two sentences. You say, the dead person's family designs their house for the funeral ceremony to meet their guests, period. Finally, you need a subject here. You might want to say, finally, all cultures have their own way to deal with ceremonies such as the funeral ceremony in Saudi Arabia. That's probably how I would rewrite that final sentence there. All right, so now let's take a look at your scores here. I don't know, it's going to be tough. Is addresses a topic? I'm going to say you address part of the topic, but the purpose of why other countries should adopt this custom, I don't really think you made that connection within your essay. So, and you also had some language use issues, as I pointed out. I'm going to put you in the 3 range. I'm going to put you in a high 3, 2.75 out of 5, or 18 points out of 30. Now, for the purposes of our class, 2.75 according to the syllabus, this is going to put you at 73% on this assignment. All right, so I'll put that into your end grade right now. Now, what do you do now? You want to get ready for the midterm exam. So remember that my grading is pretty consistent. I try to focus on specific rubrics, the rubrics that the TOEFL uses to grade this type of writing. And because of some problems with your response to the task and not answering all of the tasks directly, and then a considerable number of issues with inappropriate word choice, or you also had some problems with sentence structure and so on, I think you need some practice. So here's some of my recommendations right now. If you go to my course, I think you need to work a little bit more on your thesis statement, so I think you could do better with that. So check out lesson number 4. Number 4.1, I think would be or is important for you right now. And also, if you go to a writer's reference, under writing exercises, I do have some things I think you can work on here. And this is a grammar lesson 7 at my website. So you just go there, click on the link, it'll take you to this website. Under writing exercises, take a look at really two exercises here. Thesis statements and also topic sentences. And the main thing you want to get out of these 2 exercises is your paper was written in a more factual manner in terms of explaining things, but you didn't quite make that argument about why other countries should adopt it. So I think if you had a more clearly framed thesis that was arguable and not just factual, I think you would have better framed your body paragraph. So check out thesis statements and also topic sentences. Now, under grammar exercises, you have quite a few issues with your grammar, so I do have some areas I think you can take a look at. Sentence style, word choice, grammatical sentences, ESL challenges, along with basic grammar. If you take a look at some of the exercises in those areas, that should help you strengthen your writing before you take my final exam. All right. Anyway, thank you very much for completing the assignment. You worked hard. You did a pretty good job, but you just not quite at the level of what I would consider a college level type writing practice issue. You're not there yet. So you got to overcome a few issues and you will continue to get better. All right. Thank you.